Let's talk about something incredible. Right now, inside of you, there are trillions, yes, trillions, of tiny, bustling factories working around the clock. These are the hidden engines of all life, and today we're going to take a tour inside one of them. We're journeying into the cell. So let me ask you a question. What could you, a person listening to this, have in common with the largest animal on the entire planet and, I don't know, a mushroom growing on the forest floor? They seem completely different, right? But believe it or not, you all share a fundamental secret ingredient. And that's the answer. You're all built from the exact same fundamental thing: cells. These are the microscopic building blocks that construct every single living thing we know of, from the smallest bacteria all the way up to, well, us. To really get a handle on how these things work, we're going to have to shrink way, way down and take a tour. And to make it easier to understand, we're going to think of the cell as something you're probably pretty familiar with. I want you to imagine the cell as a super busy, highly specialized factory. Inside this tiny little world, millions of little machines are all working together 24/7 to get the business of life done. I mean everything, from building your bones to pumping your blood to digesting your lunch. It all starts right here, on this factory floor. Now, just like real-world factories, cells come in a few different models. The one we're going to be touring today is kind of the advanced model. It's the kind that builds complex life like plants, animals, and you. It's called the eukaryotic cell. So what makes a eukaryotic cell so special? Well, the key feature, the big deal, is that it has a nucleus. You can think of the nucleus as the main control center, like the CEO's office for the whole factory. And pretty much all the life you can see, animals, plants, fungi, it's all made of these kinds of cells. Okay, so every good factory needs specialized departments and a whole team of workers, right? In a cell, these are called organelles. Think of them as tiny little organs, each with a very specific, very important job to keep the whole operation running smoothly. So let's meet the team. First things first, a factory needs power. You got to keep the lights on. Meet the mitochondria. These are the power plants of the cell, no question. They take in nutrients, like the food you eat, and convert them into pure energy that fuels every single thing the cell does. Without the mitochondria, the entire factory would just grind to a halt. So, what is this factory actually making? Well, its main products are things called proteins. And the ribosomes, they're like the assembly line workers, tirelessly building these crucial protein products, molecule by molecule. And these proteins do just about everything, from giving the cell its structure to carrying important messages. Great, so you've made your proteins, but now they need to get around the factory floor. That is the job of the endoplasmic reticulum, or the ER for short. Think of it like a massive network of highways and conveyor belts that crisscross the entire factory, moving materials exactly where they need to go. Before any product can be shipped out, it needs to be sorted and packaged, right? Welcome to the Golgi body, which is basically the factory's post office and shipping department. Here, proteins get sorted, maybe a few finishing touches are added, and then they're packed into neat little bundles, all ready for delivery. And how do those packages get delivered? Well, in these tiny little mail trucks called vesicles. They literally pinch off from the Golgi post office and carry their precious cargo to its final destination. And that could be just across the factory floor, or it could even be all the way outside the cell itself. You know, all this manufacturing can get a little messy. You need a good cleanup crew. And that's where the lysosomes come in. They are the garbage and recycling centers of the cell, breaking down old, worn-out parts and digesting any waste to keep the whole factory floor sparkling clean and efficient. Okay, so we've just toured the basic factory layout. But just like in the real world, not all factories are built the same. So now, we're going to look at the two most common models and see the key upgrades that separate a plant factory from an animal factory. So while they share most of the same machinery we just talked about, plant cells come with three major upgrades that animal cells just don't have. They've got a cell wall, they have these things called chloroplasts, and a huge central vacuole. Let's break those down. First up, plant factories are built tough. They have a rigid cell wall around the entire outside. You can think of it like a fortress, providing all this extra strength and structural support that allows a plant to, stand up tall. Now, this is a total game changer. This is something animal cells can't do. Plant cells have chloroplasts. These are basically tiny solar panels that let the plant factory make its own food using nothing but sunlight. It's a process called photosynthesis, and it's an absolute superpower. All right, Finally, let's talk about storage. While animal cells have a few small storage closets, plant cells have one enormous central vacuole. It's like a combination supermarket and water tower, all in one. It stores food, water, and even waste. And it also helps the cell keep its nice, rigid shape. So here they are, the final blueprints. On the left, you've got the rigid, boxy plant cell, complete with its fortress wall and its solar panels. And on the right, you have the more flexible, rounder animal cell. Two totally brilliant designs, each one perfectly engineered for a completely different way of life. So how many of these little factories are we actually talking about? Inside your body, right now, it isn't just one. It's not 100, not a million. The number is just staggering. We are talking trillions. Trillions of these complex, coordinated factories, all working together to make you, well, you. Think about that. Every single thought you have, every move you make, is powered by this unbelievable, microscopic city inside you. So I guess the only question left is, with trillions of these tiny factories at your command, all working in perfect harmony, what will you build today?